If you were born in the late 90s or the early 2000s, then there is a common childhood we all shared, like those classic Nokia cell phones, those American or Japanese cartoons, those cassettes and tapes, maybe a few commonly watched TV shows or movies. But since the video is about gaming, then let's talk about those old CRT monitors and those Pentium computers, and a few incredible games that were popular everywhere. But if you were born in this specific region, where piracy was common, then because of their availability, a few games became revolutionary on a different level. Some of these games were Need for Speed 2, Q Club, House of the Dead, Virtua Cop 2, and then later on Vice City joined the club. But there was one game that was above all. It's the most popular game the region has ever seen. It's called Project I.G.I. Launched in December of 2000, this game became popular because of the sense of freedom in that huge, beautiful environment. The incredible ahead-of-time graphics, that sound design, the satisfying gunplay. Along with all of that, some of the most memorable things about this game, its characters, that incredible background music, and how everyone had their own personal style to approach and finish a mission. All of these aspects combined made it one of the most popular games to ever exist on Earth. Of course, the Americans are unaware. We had no knowledge about this game's existence. God bless all the console peasants. This game was made by a Norwegian company called Innerloop Studios. Since their game was mostly popular in the piracy-infected regions, it still got some sales and had success, which was enough to motivate them to make a sequel. That is when we got I.G.I 2 in 2003, which should have been another bombshell. But nah, the public did not like this game as much as they did the first one. Why did this happen? To get to know all about that, first we need to subscribe to my channel, download some more RAM to play this game, and show it to the console peasants across the world.
Меня попали!
Project I.G.I and I.G.I 2 Covered Strike, two games from the same developer, which might be similar in some ways, but completely different in the core aspects. Where in the first game, if you wanted to feel like John Wick or the Terminator, just grab a shotgun and blast your way in and shoot them all fools in the face. But instead, I.G.I 2 forced us to become a James Bond or Hitman character by hiding in bushes and sneak attacking. Because if somebody saw you, then he goes,
ما هذا؟ لا أدري.
Then you would see that the entire base would gather up in the place and then start chasing you as if they're asking for an autograph. So this game was a lot more serious and slow-paced compared to the first one. Overall, both games have their own charm, I agree, and each one of them does something that's better than the other. But I.G.I 2 made a few terrible mistakes. Mistakes like no memorable cinematic intro. Remember the first game? A dude grabs a hammer, breaks some bones, and then we can see our main character gear up for the mission. And what do we get this time? Just a JPEG image of a Codemaster logo? And then straight into the main menu. Absolutely no presentation. And then there were some terrible choices with the change in voice actors, the change in the gameplay movement, the change with the overall feel of the game. And on that note, let's talk about the missions and level designs first.
حافظ على المكان!
This is probably the most important aspect of any video game, because what makes a dialogue, what makes a storyline, what makes a gameplay most memorable is the level it was staged in. And when it comes to Project I.G.I, it was the locations that made the entire game so memorable. If a level was scary, it had beauty. If a level was ugly, it had music. If a level had neither of those, it had intensity. There was always something unique about every single mission we played in the whole first game. Even though the same style of buildings, the same assets were used throughout the whole game, no mission felt the same as another. Except for Eagle Nest 2 and finding the bomb, every single location felt so comfortable to be in. That feeling is missing from I.G.I 2. Even though it has a lot more variety than the first game, most locations feel so bland, so tasteless. Some even feel so creepy. Except for Pre-Boys Villa, no mission tempted me to have a look around. And even if I do attempt to go and explore the surroundings, Anya starts to act as if she's my overprotective mother.
Way off target, Jones. Mission aborted. Prepare for extraction.
If we compare the missions, both games have a border crossing mission. The first game feels like it has lore, some mysteries. We can stop somewhere, take a breath, and admire the beauty of the mission. And the second game? If we compare the airfield missions, the first game has a gigantic runway, 2 different bases, a control tower, a radar, a hangar with jet fighters, offices, control rooms, buildings, and whatever not. And if we take a look at the IGI 2's airfield mission, then comes the first mission from both games. For IGI 1, it's not that special, of course, I agree. But because of the simplicity, it became memorable. It's a very tutorial-like single objective mission. It helps us get comfortable with the game. But in IGI 2, more than half the player base deleted the game right after this first mission encounter. I would say this is a better first mission if compared to the first games. But the core player base was not used to this kind of difficulty. It was just too much for them. There are some good missions that I usually find myself replaying over and over again. The replay value of these missions are better than the first games. These include Production Facility, Prison Escape, and everyone's favorite Pre-Boys Villa. But like most games from that era, there is always that one mission where we are stripped of all our gear and we are forced to either use a single weapon or button mash all the way through. A mission like that does exist in the first game. It's this fourth mission. We have no choice but to use the sniper only. And I hate these kind of missions. A mission like that does exist in IGI 2 as well. But this is one of the most exciting missions from the whole series. This truly feels like a mission with unlimited ammo and a license to kill and destroy. If the chopper lands, then don't worry, the fun isn't over, because we probably carried a machine gun from the last mission. So even though this game has some good missions, it's still too small of a number. Now let's get to the second reason why I hated this game so much.
Trevoga!
What did you say? IGI 2 had no music? That is because, like most of us, you probably installed the game from a pirated copy. To fit the game on a standard 700 megabyte CD, they had to remove lots of game files, which included the music, of course. That is what led us to believe that IGI 2 had no music, since one of the reasons why IGI 1 was so popular was because of its background music. Of course, everyone had more expectations from IGI 2, but listening to that hollowness, that was such a huge disappointment. And years later, now that we know it does have music, it feels so wrong not experiencing it the first time. Because this game has one of the most underrated music tracks in all of gaming. Some of these are Production Facility, Deep in the Mines, Bridge Across the Nestor, Remember that I complained about the airfield mission? Well, now listen to this. And then one soundtrack from this game did an injustice to its composer's legacy. It had all the ingredients to become one of the greatest video game soundtracks ever created. It never received the recognition it deserved. As a result, both the track and the composer remained one of the most underrated talents. When it comes to the looks and feel, the border crossing mission in this game feels so crappy. It literally sounds like buzzing flies and mosquitoes on a shitbag. But if we close our eyes, just imagine that it's a border crossing mission and play this music.
There's bound to be some passive defenses, so watch yourself.
It sounds so hopeless, so impossible. It's the music of when an enemy unleashes his dogs, who are relentlessly tracking our scent. Of course, nothing like that happens in the actual mission, but this music does its job perfectly well. I think we all owe an apology to Kim Jensen, and I've heard he recently made a Spotify account. Hopefully he's able to upload all the game soundtracks there. Now let's get to the part that I personally hate the most. It's the characters.
سقط أحد الرجال.
There aren't many characters in the I.G.I franchise. The only ones we need to know about is David Jones. He's the star of the game, a well-trained agent doing top-secret missions, and he has a cheerful personality, very Spider-Man-like.
Yes, another success for David Jones' I.G.I.
And Kerry Shale did an excellent job with the voice acting. Basically, he is everything he needs to be, and it goes so smooth with the overall personality of the game. What went wrong is in I.G.I 2, they tried to fix what was never broken. First of all, they changed his personality from a cheerful soldier enjoying his missions into an angry old person who's been trying to retire for the past 5 years. And then they changed his voice actor. They brought in Chris Fairbank, a well-known Hollywood personality, and he did the most sloppiest job he could. Listen to this.
Damn. Blew the engine.
But this is nothing compared to what happened with Yak Preboy. This is one of the most memorable characters from the first game. He is the boss of a Russian mafia. He looks like one, he dresses like one, he talks like one.
First you kidnap me, and then you lose me. I thought you were a professional.
But in this game, Russian mafia boss? More like an underpaid employee from a software house who got kicked out of his own house by his wife. And then what happened to his voice?
You don't need old yak anymore.
Since when did he become British? In the first game, he was formidable. He could blast his way through without needing your help. In this game, we have to drag his ass for 4 missions. And he does absolutely nothing apart from sitting, standing, and waiting for us.
But I'm not going anywhere for now. Too much blood gone.
Thanks, Innerloop, I have no respect left for this character anymore. And then comes the main brand. Probably the most important character of the franchise. Rebecca Anya is our mission director. Back in the day, there were many people who did not know the name of the main character. But everyone knew who Anya was. She had the looks of a girl who can kick some ass. And then she returns in I.G.I 2. And she looks like a Barbie doll. And in this game, she has the personality of what David Jones should have had.
Well,
First, you need to deal with the sniper's
The one thing I could have praised this game for was its character development with the villains. It's not too special, but it is what it was supposed to be. For once, something felt normal with the game. We had Philip White. He was okay for a main boss. Then we have the chopper pilot, Robert Quest. This is the guy with who the main character gets a personal grudge with.
Both ways you die.
God'll be your judge, Quest. I'll make you an appointment.
And when the time comes to finally confront him, this was supposed to be the climax of the game. We just killed the main character's nemesis without any confrontation, without any dialogue. If this was a movie, the entire theater would walk out. And the main boss, after he revealed his true colors, we don't get to see or hear from him for about the next 10 missions. And when we finally do, turns out he wasn't the main boss. He died for the most stupidest reason there could be. And now this is the main villain? I don't even know him. And then we proceed to kill him in that very mission when we confront him for the first time. I'd rather go on a blind date without ever knowing the other person's gender than to accept this bald-ass sack as my main villain. And how ironic that he is one of the reasons why the game got banned in China. Now let's get to the worst part about this game, which includes the movement, the enemy intelligence, and the gameplay changes compared to the first game.
Поднять тревогу!
The first segment in this chapter is dedicated to those idiots who think realism makes a game better and that this game was more realistic than the first. You know how the first game's intelligence worked? If a guard was on a fixed or a standby position, then upon spotting you, he starts shooting without delay or hesitation. The most common examples are the guards in watchtowers. But the other guards who are patrolling, if they spot you, then just like a chessboard, they have to first take a position from where they can shoot you. I wouldn't say it was a limitation, it was just maybe inexperience, but it did have some unique features. Like if a guard was alerted, he could alert the other guards with him. Now the intelligence in I.G.I 2, it's stupid on a different ground. Like if a guard is alerted, no other guards pay attention to him unless he raises the alarm. And the fact that you can kill the entire base by camping in a single position. And if the alarm is raised, even if there are scientists who have nothing to do with security, they too start running around like crazy. Yes, this time they don't have to take a chessboard position to start shooting at you, but calling them intelligent? I don't think so. They may be more difficult than the first game, but they're not intelligent or realistic in any way. Then comes the fact that you cannot keep more than one primary weapon. Yes, it is better than the first game, where you could just have unlimited weapons at a time. But only one primary weapon? Not even an SMG for a secondary? What, does he have to keep the weapons inside of a pocket? And he has no more room? Then comes the grenades. In the first game, you can pull out the pin and keep the grenade forever in your hand, while in I.G.I 2, if you remove the pin, you have about 4 seconds before it goes. Now tell me, intelligent people, which one is the more realistic one? If you thought the second game is more realistic in that aspect, you don't need to watch any more of the video. You are the most intelligent being on Earth, and we salute you. If you pull the pin out of a grenade, it does not explode until you let go of the trigger. If you don't release the trigger, you can literally put the pin back in, and it becomes safe. Now, as for the gameplay mechanic, I think the I.G.I 2 mechanic is better, because we can throw the grenade at the last second before it explodes, and no one would be able to dodge, unlike I.G.I 1. So this grenade example proves both my points, that realism does not make a game better, and I.G.I 2 is not more realistic than the first game.
ها هو الغريب.
And now comes the movement. I swear I have never played any first-person shooter game with worse movement than this. Basically, the forward and backward speed, it's just like the first game, but the sideways speed is slowed down. Strafing is not possible anymore, and the top body feels disconnected from the torso. If you keep moving in a straight line and rotate, you would feel like your top body rotates first and then the legs start to follow. The jumping is inconsistent. Overall walking or running feels extremely clunky. And then the third-person camera movement. Remember the first game? So smooth. It was so butter and cream. Moving the camera around was one of the best feelings in the world. But in this game, I don't think I need to say much to explain. Now let's get to some extra details and then get to the conclusion of the video. Something that this game improved on was the name. The acronym I.G.I. For the first game, the full form was I'm Going In. That was kind of stupid. For this game, it's been changed to Institute of Geotactical Intelligence. But where Project I.G.I. became such a cult name, no one dares to call this game I.G.I 2 Covert Strike. Everyone calls it as Project I.G.I 2. So I guess we can remove the subtitle, no one really cared about it. And I.G.I 2 has a multiplayer. It isn't the best multiplayer in the world, but it can be a very fun casual experience if some programmer or coder can manage to change some of the rules of the game, like those annoying spawn costs. And as for the future of the franchise, it's sad to see the new game getting cancelled, but the fan base is still very much alive. You can still find ways to play multiplayer with the community, and the modding team is actively working to fix the game in the best way they can. I'll be covering that news soon, and if you want to get more content related to this franchise, you can follow the channel and enjoy the videos. So show me out, and I'm going in.